Okay, well, Macca asked Trevor if he'd do some songs, and Trevor very nicely said, "Well, I'll co-produce with me," which was very generous of him. And Macca was up for it, and it was 4 songs. And on the way down to Hog Hill Mill, which is his studio, I remember Trevor saying, "We 2 days a track. That's what we're going to do." Macca remembers it the other way around, saying, and I said to Trevor, "Just 2 days a track." But you wouldn't, would you? You wouldn't ask Trevor Horn to work on something and say you've only got 2 days. It's like, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Yeah, it's like saying to that, what's his name, the long distance runner, go running, but don't use your legs. I mean, you just wouldn't do it. So at any rate, Mo Farah, that's what I was thinking. So we get down there, and I had just bought a weird rig. I remember this rig. It was in sort of not rubber, but plastic 6U cases.
Oh, those ABS cases. Yeah.
Yeah, but they were crap versions. So they were all sort of bent and buckled. And I had 4 of them full of synth modules, and a primitive MIDI switcher, and a keyboard and a computer. I had a computer, which was it was probably an IBM. I can't remember if it was called a lunch box or so, but it looked like an old sewing machine. And you pulled the front down.
Oh, yeah.
Or the bottom, you pull the bottom down, and the screen was like 6 inches or something. And the bottom was the keyboard.
Was the keyboard that would protected the screen when you moved it? Yeah.
Yeah. So it was one of those, and I had this software called Voyetra something. Could have been Sequencer Plus. Amazing software. No mouse. It was all just keystrokes. So it was really quick. And we'd figured how to sync up to a tape machine with a thing called an SRC. So all that was totally under control. And in one of the boxes, I had a drum box that came out on runners. It was a Yamaha RX5. It was called RX5. It was just all that. I don't know why I got that, but I got this drum box, and I had a Roland synth, like a JX8P in a box, and a TX802, which was one of those DX7s.
Yeah, the FM synth, yeah.
Yeah, and a little keyboard. And I'd programmed some rhythms in my drum box, because by that time, I think Trevor and I had some rooms over the road at Basing Street. We each had a room, and these funny Akai 8-track machines. We had this weird idea we could program up some stuff which nobody was doing,
Right, this is Dr. Luke, 30 years before.
Oh, we can do some shit and then take it over and make the record, not realizing we were making the records. But anyway, that's another story. So I had all this stuff, bass sounds and drum patterns, and I had one drum pattern in the RX5 that we both liked, and a bass sound we both liked. Didn't have any use for either. Get down there, and the idea is I'm going to set up. And while I'm setting up, Trevor will go upstairs to Paul's sitting room and listen through the songs. And he comes down and he said, "Oh, well, I found this song. The reason I picked it was because it'd go really well with that rhythm you've got in your box." And I'm thinking, okay, that's a good reason for doing it. Okay, so I can't remember how. He must have played me a demo or something. Anyway, we hear it, and Macca picks up a guitar. Okay, he's got a guitar. Trev's got a keyboard, and I've got the drum box, and I've got this bass sound, a little keyboard in front. So there's the SSL that I'm supposed to be looking at, anyway, as I've told you before. Can you hear yourself? Great, that'll do. And so I've got the bass sound on a keyboard and the drum box, and we start running this song. And of course, every so often I'd have panic attacks that I'm playing the bass. And that's Paul McCartney over there and I'm coming up with the bass part, I'm figuring the bass part here. And not only that, but I'm in control of when we stop and start, because I've got the button here for the drum box. And it was a bit weird. It was a kind of weird experience, like controlling the set. Anyway, so we're getting a song, and then at some point, drugs might have been involved. I wouldn't like to say, but at some point, I stop the thing, and Paul has these guys around, like assistants. They're in the room. I can never tell whether it's a good idea or not, but they love everything he does. So they, it's like an encouragement machine,
right?
Somehow, whatever. And I stopped the drum box. I remember him stops, and I said, "Look, we've been running this all day, and it's great, but the middle eight's terrible." And the guys look, they go, suddenly go, look at me. Do you know, it's like, do you know who that is over there? And Macca's looking at me like, oh yeah, and I'm a bit out of it, and I've just said this thing. And he goes, oh yeah. He goes, after a horrible pause, he goes, so what are you going to do about it? And I said, it's not my department, pal. That's your department. I'm here to tell you.
And what was Trevor doing during that?
Trevor knows me.
It's like, fine, let him take the hit on that one.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
And so Macca goes, all right, I'll go and rewrite the middle eight. Goes upstairs, rewrites the middle eight. But there was a moment there where I thought, this is not good. I shouldn't have done that. But in retrospect, no, I should have done that.
Absolutely, that's the gig. And I mean, obviously, I haven't worked with him, but from everybody I know who has, and from interviews and things, I mean, that's his career. He's so prolific. Not everything can be absolute genius, but he'll write you 12 more middle eights in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I always thought, funny enough, and I'll probably get hate mail for this, but I always thought Prince needed a producer.
Just someone to say, not that one.
Yeah, that's not good. That's amazing. This, dump it. But there's this thing that has occurred to me. I wish I had it. I always think of it as being a clear thinker, of being able to get these sort of subconscious things straight out of you. And Macca can do it. He'll just have ideas. They just flow.
Right.
And Prince, obviously the same. It's like he's got a clear channel out. We were all, I can only speak for myself, but there's definitely some kind of blockage with the occasional glimmer of clear channels, but very rare, where thoughts just happen and stuff comes out. But more often than not, it's all a bit constipated. Not with Prince and not with Macca. And they both, in a way, suffered from the same thing, which is not having people telling him when it's rubbish.
Right. Well, I mean, Sir George wasn't saying yes to everything. Those records were produced.
No, that's absolutely true. Absolutely true.
Not to mention the rest of the bandmates,
Yeah, but it's hard with Macca because he's really good. Like, really good.
And can play pretty much anything, right?
Really well.
I saw a picture just a few months ago. He's playing trumpet on something. Like,
yeah.
What?
I know. He played sax on the track. Amazing. But he does it so well, It's not like, I can kind of figure it. It's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because the instrument doesn't really matter. The music's going to come out no matter what he's holding. Pretty extraordinary. So...
and the other thing is that one has to be a bit circumspect, because I remember when he came out with something called the Frog Song. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
I remember at the time thinking, what is he doing? The Frog Song. But actually, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. It's the most beautiful piece of music. You could say the same about Muller Kintyre. Maybe Ebony and Ivory was a bit of a low point, but I don't know, even that, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, a pretty big hit for a low point. But I mean, to be honest, that
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah,
people see Flowers in the Dirt as his attempt at kind of kickstarting some stuff. Like his career was not, I mean, it's ridiculous to say that he had a low point, but he did, really. I mean, obviously Beatles, then Wings, but this was, it's not the obvious choice to be working with someone like Trevor, and it's a different
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So
I have to say, uh, whatever negatives there are to say about the man, I am utterly in awe of him, like completely in awe of him. I've got to say, I think he's brilliant.
yeah, I'm not going to argue with